Welcome back to the One More K podcast. My name is Marcus. We're on episode number 52. Bonjour from La France, where I am right now. And I'm saying very good morning to Ned in New York.
Good morning. A snowy, beautiful morning, 5:30. I have jet lag. I'm meant to be running, but a little injured, so I may not. But Marcus, for the first time in 53 episodes, you changed the intro. You normally say welcome back, or welcome to. This morning you just said welcome back. So you assume that everybody in the world's already listening, which I think is probably true.
That's true. Yeah, there might be new listeners joining. Welcome to the One More K podcast, of course. This is our Christmas end of year episode. So we have a lot of, review to do. As we do Christmas, we look back of the year, how we feel, how it's going. So this is going to be a review episode and a bit of a, looking ahead episode. But I remember episode number 1, which was pretty much 1 year ago, we were giving out some predictions of 2024. So I thought, why don't we review those predictions and see how we were either right or wrong with our view of the 2024 year of trail running, endurance running, backyard running, road running, endurance sports. So why don't we start with the first prediction? We had talked about the best male athlete measured by winning most prestigious races. And you had done the prediction of a Japanese runner. Mine, I don't really remember. But so, Ned, who do you think was the best male athlete of 2024 you would point out to?
Well, yes, I think I was excited that the Japanese would break through because of their great marathoning capabilities, but I don't know if anything really stood out. I mean, I see we have David Roche written down here. Obviously, I have become a fanboy. That's pretty outstanding. I would also say, though, that, and I know this is a bit of a cop-out answer, but the marathon world has been set alight by so many people. 2:05 is pedestrian now. Like, there is countless names, both on the male and on the female side. That record went down crazily. So in general, in running, I think there has been this huge step forward. But I think for a male athlete who, again, I'm just going to say it because I'm a fanboy, I know you have it written down as well, David Roche, his Leadville and his statements about Western states, I think.
Javelina.
Yeah, and Javelina as well.
Yeah. Someone who has not been on the radar, I think, globally that much. He's, of course, very well known in the US, David Roach, but now with his also episode on Rich Roll podcast, he really broke out. The marathon side, you're right. I don't think there is another Kipchoge right now this year. So I'm sure right now the cards getting reshuffled and we'll see a few more dominant players coming out the next few years.
Sadly, we lost Kelvin Kiptum, who died in and this is, we could do it on another long podcast, the tragedy of some of the African athletes who make money. There's been quite a few. I don't know if you remember from the Beijing Olympics, Sami Wenjiro, who fell off his balcony. And, it's not only money in football that corrupts young people. But anyway, let's maybe not go down that road on a Christmas day. But yes, Kelvin Kiptum did amazing stuff, but didn't make it through the year.
May he rest in peace. Moving on to the best female athlete, you said a college runner. That was an interesting prediction, I think, early this year. Can you just highlight that again? I think there was something cool you said about college runners.
Yeah, I think it is college runners missing. Basically, in the US, college runners go to cross country, then track, then Olympics. I thought some of them would just miss it all out and come straight to ultra. A bit like David Roche is saying. I don't know if you read his post yesterday. It was ultras are now 5K races. We're running them. He wants to be in 13-minute 5K shape when it comes to Western states. So my idea was a college runner would come off 5K pace and go straight to ultra. And there's a lady, I forget her name. She's not going to be, I'm going to tell you who my pick, who I think the standout athlete was. Her name is, I'll remember in a minute. She went straight from college to the Olympics in the 5 or 10K. And she has spoken about coming to ultra. So I had a prediction of a college athlete. She did break out, went straight to the Olympics. She talks about coming across. I'll remember her name in a moment.
My prediction was either Hauha or Samaya Buddha as the best female athlete. I do think they had the Asian females did have some breakouts. We will cover this later. In terms of winning races, we had, of course, Courtney Walter. She won Hard Rock, UTMB, Côte d'Azur, Mount Fuji, and Transcanaria. And also I think we have to mention, of course, Katie Scheidt, who won UTMB, Mont Blanc, and Western States. So Courtney and Katie, the two American women, did have pretty good years in 2024 in terms of wins.
I agree. My athlete, if I get to look back and choose now, is Tara Downer. I think what she did on the AT, I mean, the best. She beat Carl Sabe. She beat Stringbean. She beat Spigo Carl. She put down the best time, and she did it in brutal style, sleeping on the trail. I mean, really what Tara did, and if you listen to her, I've listened to her a few times. I mean, she went deep, 43 days. I mean, she went, poof. You know, I'm a fan of endurance. I think Tara Downer put down something. She said to herself, she said it's been very hard to adjust. Normal life seems so dull, so grey now.
Wow. Yeah. Berlin winning time. You said sub 2. Well, okay. You were ambitious. I said 2 hours and 46 seconds. Well, the winning time was 2 hours, 3 minutes and 17 seconds by Mengesha. He was, I guess, in your case, 3 minutes off. He was, in my case, just under 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes off. So we didn't see a very, very fast Berlin time. Back to our earlier point, I think things are reshuffled and we will see some stronger runners come up the next few years on the marathon time. Then we had the prediction who would win which nationality would win UTMB Mont Blanc this year. And both of us said French, and both of us in this case were correct. And Vincent Bouillard, he won UTMB France. So we actually, why did we say French? What made us say a Frenchie would win?
I think we thought Francois was coming back. We did not. I mean, if we had both said Vincent Bouillard, I think then we deserve an extra gold star. We did not say that.
We did not say that. No, we can't claim it. At least we said French. But we felt like they're going to come back because, you know, Americans had a good year last year. And yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah, interesting. So
I think it was also that, you know, no nationality. I'm not a big fan of nationalism, but, you know, when Americans come over, and I think, you know, they're adopting Jim as one of their own because he lives there. And how can you not love Zach Miller? So a 1-2 for Jim and Zach wasn't exactly like, you know, sacre bleu, but still it was, you know, I think we thought that the French would come back to win for a bit of national pride as well.
So they did. Last prediction was how many loops or maximum loops would be set at the backyard race this year. You said more than 106, which was the previous world record. I said 96. And Ned, you can reveal the number. What is now the standing world record of the backyard ultra?
Harvey Lewis, 110. And I just could not see a world that with the talent that was coming to Biggs, Harvey, Phil Gore, Sam Harvey, Ihor Ferez, that they wouldn't, Mori, they wouldn't go past that. I wasn't accurate at 110, but I just have, look, if I got backyard prediction wrong and you got it right, that would have been big shame on me, considering I claim it's my world. So yeah, 110.
I did say 96, knowing that I want to give it to you. So I was like, let me just kind of, you know, play it down a bit so that you can
You're
claim
too
that.
kind.
Yeah, it's just,
You're
you know,
too
I
kind.
didn't want to crush your backyard wisdom, or at least your, whatever you got to call it, backyard wisemanship. All right. So we had a few predictions. A lot of things didn't play out as we thought they would. We had some people, Courtney, Katie Scheid, I think, were pretty much on the cards. They took their wins home. David Roche, a surprise. But yeah, it was an exciting year in trail running, ultra running.
I think my excitement is that watch a video from 2024, then watch a video, if we can, from let's go all the way back, not 1994, whatever, even 2014. Watch Unbreakable. No one's sprinting. No one's sprinting. Even 10 years ago, ultra has changed people. So there's two big changes. You have to sprint to win. 100 miles have been, and this is not just a David Roche thing. Watch videos. Watch Sun Maya. Remember we watched Sun Maya against the top Chinese lady?
Fuzhou,
in that 80K race? Fuzhou? I mean, if you watch any of the clips, they were hammering. This is not a gentle sport anymore. This is at the front. This is like track pacing. Massive change in the last couple of years.
That's true. Even like just last weekend, we had the UTMB race in Thailand, where actually we talked about the female runners, how Ha was doing the 50K, just correcting ourselves. She didn't do 100 miles, 100K. There was an exciting 50K race going on. She also ran super fast. There was a lot of pace, a lot of position switching. So yeah, I think the pace is really a word to summarize 2024. The pace picked up.
Yeah. You also wrote what business things stood out. I think I've commented on this before, and I'm going to comment again. I am currently in New York, and ultra running is a fashion now. And the amount of stores I think I talked repeatedly about Hoka being in Bloomingdale's in the fashion section. I went into the Salomon store on 6th Avenue yesterday. I promise you, I was the only runner in there. I was the only. Now, I don't want to be, maybe I'm being a bit unkind, but, I'm just going to say what I say. Certainly runners were not dominant in there. It's a fashion store. Ultra, biggest business thing to me is Ultra's booming, but I worry for its soul.
But then I just wonder, if I walk into a store and I see you, Ned, would I consider you a runner? So then the question is, how do you define a runner these days if in a store? Like how does a runner have to look like in Ned's eyes to qualify and get a stamp of approval from Ned Phillips?
You're so good at putting me on the spot. One thing I would say is that I don't think runners are fashionable in the normal sense of the word. People were in there with their Bloomingdale's bags and their top fashion bags, and if you're in a Salomon store with your Gucci bag, I don't want to be unkind, but I don't, of course you can run. People with Gucci can run, but I'm just being judgmental, which is not fair. I'm not allowed to in 2024, but it's our podcast, so maybe there are runners, but it felt, and the whole thing was not positioned as a running store. It was positioned as a fashion store.
Right.
And so maybe that, I'm sure there were runners in there, but it felt like a fashion store. Now, Salomon in Chamonix would feel different from Salomon on 6th Avenue.
Right. So you're saying that like runners have to look a bit more grungy, have to look a bit more like less polished. Is that fair to say?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Now I feel bad wearing a very nice sweater. Next time I will put on some kind of grungy t-shirt so I fit into the crowd.
But it's changing. And look, and this is the reality. Grumpy old Ned needs to sit down and shut up because it's changing. Because Ultra, let's face facts, Ultra was grungy. It was grungy. But running today, it's influencer, it's Insta, it's good-looking people, apart from me, on places talking about running, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I do think it's changing. And hey, look, never bemoan change. Change is what keeps the world going round. I think my business trend of the year is that running is now really quite cool and really quite fashionable. And hey, whether that's a good or a bad thing, we'll find out.
Okay, great. So now you already have been mentioning it a few times. We are entering the section where we are giving out the world famous One More K Business Awards, which of course everyone knows about. We have been talking about it for years. Everyone is super excited to see it. So drum rolls, we're handing out some awards here. The first one is, and this is of course not about the runners and so on and so on. This we leave it to other podcasts and media outlets to carry it. We are on the business side, as everyone knows. The best brand of 2024, Ned, who do you want to give the award for the best brand for 2024?
So this is relatively, I was thinking about this, not deeply, but I was thinking about it. And I was trying not to be self-serving because I love Rabbit, but I don't think, and this is going to sound strange, but I'm going to go with Bandit because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I was running yesterday in New York and the coolest people were wearing Bandit. I was on the West Side Highway and you could just see it. You could see that for me personally, I don't know, maybe it was a reaction to being in the Salomon store, and Salomon, to my eyes, is no longer cool. The best brands are somebody who are bringing something different and cool. And I think Bandit has no reason to be in this space apart from the fact they created a brand. So if we're talking about best brand rather than best product, I mean, it's just a t-shirt. What the hell? What have they done? Like they literally, if you're encapsulating the word brand, not product, I'm going with Bandit.
Interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. Actually, I think, to be fair, they only came on my radar since I really saw them in Austin at the running event. And since they have been stuck in my head, and we talked about it before, I would give them as the coolest new kid on the block type brand award. In terms of my best brand for 2024, I pick On Running, because they have been, if I look at my own mind and I look at which brand been on top of mind, besides my own brand, of course, I do think a lot about On, and I do think what they're doing with the shoes, with the marketing, the store, the booth at the running event was very impressive. So overall for the whole year, On, and I have to admit as well that I do like the On financials. Again, there's not a financial advice. I'm very impressed how they are just printing money compared to a Hoka, which doesn't print that much money. The profitability of On is much, much higher. I think they're going to land 700 million in income this year, which is incredible for
income.
Yeah, in income, right? And I think that is, of course, a business fact, not a brand fact. But all this combined, I feel like they're managing the company, the brand very well. And, they're doing so much marketing, so much branding, yet they are very profitable. I like that. I think that's very good. And kudos to the Swiss there in this case, who've been doing a very good job. So that's why I picked On for this year, as they have been still true to who they are. And I was very impressed that at the UTMB 2024 in Mont Blanc, On didn't have a big booth. They didn't have like the Hoka branding, but yet everyone still talked about them. And I like that. And I think that's quite smart. And I really appreciate that kind of almost cheekiness to not go all out like a Hoka, but, deliver what they can and also then don't do what they don't have to do.
Fair enough.
Moving on to the worst brand, Ned, why don't I start with the worst brand of 2024?
I mean, it's not even close. It's not even close. It's Iron Man by such a long way. They've just abandoned any sense of giving an F about their brand. I would love them to just say, guys, this is a money play. Shut up and give us your money. I would respect them way more. So that's my little. In second, I'll give an honorary second mention to Hoka. I think they've lost their soul as well.
Interesting. Why this year Ironman, not like last year or the 2 years before? We didn't have the awards, of course, 2 years ago, but like, what changed this year for you in Ironman?
And this is nothing against the Ironman people. We've had them on the show and they're good people. Nothing against that. Remember, this is not, Ironman people suck. They don't. They're great people. Ironman, you know what changed this year? Just a couple of their actions, not just the Gary race. They cancelled a race. They shortened a race and they put out a statement about the shortened race. I even wrote a drop about it. It showed such a lack of understanding. I couldn't even get my head around it. Like the lack of understanding. It was like a politician reading out a pre-scripted note. Like, guys, this is still running. People still care. Stop. I think it's just, I don't want to, rag on private equity. Every bit of me feels the private equity boys have just got their hands so firmly all over this. And every day it feels like it's never coming back. Iron Man's a dead brand.
Fair enough. Of course, you're right now sitting there wearing an Iron Man t-shirt. So I find it quite hilarious seeing you ranting about Iron Man and wearing a Kona t-shirt. But that's how it works.
Sorry, did you say I went to Kona? Oh, I forgot about that. Anyway, thank you for mentioning.
Oh yeah, I should now go on my knees and pray to the Kona Lord, Ned Phillips. You did go to Kona. I did hear that you qualified in South Korea. Was South Korea a very tough race, or was it an easy race, South Korea, back in the days?
Well, I shall be honest. I was meant to go to China, and China was cancelled because the government pulled a license at the last minute. So those slots went across to Korea, and I was the last qualifier in Korea. But a lot of the Germans came across to try and snag slots. It was a tough run course. It was a tough course, but there were a lot of slots. I got lucky to qualify. I will accept.
Very good. I'm very proud of you. My worst brand of the year, and this is more measured by the expectations, I believe, is Nike. So, Nike, I believe, one of the greatest brands of our life. They hadn't had a good trail running 2024. I think they've been trying for a few years to go to trail running. They have Nike Trail, they have shoes, they have a line, but they don't seem to really get it together at the moment, whether it's Nike overall, whether it's Nike Trail, just in general. I saw them also at some certain boost in UTMB and also at the running event. Didn't seem like they're very tuned into trail running. Very nice people. Nike are very nice people, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to gel right now. And I think there's an overall Nike problem that we face, and I can also sense it in trail running. I'm curious to see what they're going to do next few years with new leadership, with new strategy. I'm sure they're going to double down on trail running. They should not miss the boat. Of course, we're biased, but I believe that's true. So yeah, Nike for me, measured by expectations, measured by a 20-year, 30-year legacy, of course, much longer, but in my lifetime, it's still possible to be a good brand, but they have not delivered on that note. So sorry, Nike, but I know you can do better.
I think it's for Nike, trying to be everything to everyone is very hard. They're not really trail runners.
Fair enough. That is true. So next is the best marketing campaign of 2024. Let me start on this one. I have chosen the Lululemon Further event. It was earlier this year, and it was a 6-day running event in US where pretty much, I think on my radar, they launched their running line, their more trail running line. I was pretty impressed how they pulled this off. Many world records were set. Camille Herron, I think, forgot the number, but let it be 8 world records were ran in that event. I loved how they managed the social media. I loved how they managed it with flying in all the KOLs around the world to, I think it was California. The Instagram coloring, everything was so slick. I really think it was a great campaign. Kudos to them. And they achieved that. I have put them onto my running outdoor sport radar. And I do think that it launched Lululemon into a completely new direction, away from more the yoga pants and whatnot, more into running. So kudos to Lululemon for pulling this one off.
I agree. Unfortunately, afterwards, I think they may not have been as delighted with it, given the following controversy. But at the time, I agree.
Yeah. What's your best marketing campaign? What did get on your radar throughout the year.
This is going to sound strange, and I think most people wouldn't have noticed it. And it's not really a marketing campaign, but it is a use of marketing, the Speed Project. The way they use Instagram, the commentators are like DJs. Like they've taken it to a level of cool and a level of secrecy and and if you watch it, it's like the coolest dudes are like slamming rap tunes down, and it's like subversive, and it's not even a race, but everybody's like the Speed Project. I think it's very niche, but super clever how they've done this. Like, you don't know about it. It's a secret. We are a tribe. We are against the world. We run. And if you watch their Insta accounts and their marketing, these guys could, not that they want that to blow up, but they could. I think they position themselves in we're going to talk about documentaries, every single documentary being the same. I think if we look at how to position a brand as differently, I think the Speed Project did a fantastic job.
It's, by the way, founded by a German in Los Angeles. So let's see if we get him on the podcast too. I do think the original Speed Project, just to clarify, I believe, was from the Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles to the Las Vegas sign in Las Vegas, Nevada. So the idea is you have a team and there are no rules, no spectators, nothing. You just have to figure out your way to the Las Vegas sign. That has grown to, a global edition. There are now Atacama Desert, Speed Project, a few others. I've got a few friends who participated already a few times. They love it. They really love the cultish event that they've been setting up as that. And so anyone out there, we recommend follow the Speed Project Instagram account with very cool pictures, very cool colors. Really draws you in.
It does indeed.
All right, then we have the next one is the best newcomer of 2024. Also, let me just start here. Kind of no surprise, but still, it's Vincent Bouillard at UTMB. He was not on my radar. He was on some people's radar, but not on my radar. So I do pick him as the runner, as the best newcomer. How he just came out of nowhere as a Hoka employee with almost zero Instagram followers, not really caring what anything is happening. And also, I think afterwards, staying pretty cool. He didn't sign a big sponsorship. He didn't do anything extraordinary on the back of it. He didn't go on Withdraw podcast. He just delivered. He just won the race. I really like it. He's just true to himself before and after the race, despite winning one of the greatest races on earth. So, Vincent, good job.
I mean, I can't disagree much, really. I think that was absolutely exceptional. I did listen to him on Dylan's podcast afterwards. Dylan spoke to him, and he was exactly that. He was like, yep, pretty chill, man. Like, he's a very good friend of Jim Walmsley. They go out, Jim cheered him on. I think you have to go there. I would give an honorary mention. I know this sounds weird, and clearly I'm too much of a fanboy already, but in a funny kind of way, David Roche, after 18 years of not being there, and, suddenly he's not a newcomer. He's 18 years as an endurance athlete, but he suddenly seems to have burst onto the scene. Now, obviously, he's had a rough year. He had this massive bike crash. He had the Spring Energy nightmare. Nobody's ambivalent about the Roches. You either love them or hate them, right? Hate's too strong a word, but they get shit. But as a newcomer on the race scene, as he said, why not me? And my little drop at the end of this is about this. So in a funny kind of way, as a newcomer to the 100-mile scene, I think he's going to change that sport. And
that's true.
So I'll give him like an honorary newcomer mention to the 100-mile scene, even though he's not a newcomer.
That's true. He's been around for a long time, but he moved into the 100 miles and he's crushed it. I don't know. It's almost like it's a different category, but it's these crossing of categories, so who knows who we'll see next few years who's come from a different discipline, different category, or maybe different sport into this, and who's going to crush it with different mindset and also different background. I think David Roche's background is very essential for what he's doing right now. So kudos to him. All right, the most exciting race of 2024, Ned, you go.
The Sumaya Fujao race. Seriously, people, if you want to see what two athletes in effect punching each other in the face is like, if you're a martial arts fan, you like to see two athletes slugging it out. You want to see the equivalent in ultra running? Go and watch. Marcus, maybe you'll remember. It was in China. I don't remember.
Wenling 70.
Seriously, guys, like, I didn't watch it all live, but I watched some of it, and then I watched the shorts and the reels. These two were like elbowing each other on the path for 70K. These two were like going at it. Their faces were in pain, all 70K, and then they sprinted up the chute. I mean, it was like, it didn't get the coverage because it's not, Courtney or Killian, and nothing against them, but it's, it is in China and it's two Asian athletes. But you wanted to see an exciting race and a showdown? Holy shit, that was it.
That's true. You're right. Actually, yeah, that was a very exciting race. Instagram really helped there for sure, or other
For
reels.
sure.
On my side, I would choose the Backyard World Championships. I, of course, enjoyed watching you winning the Singapore chapter of it. So again, I have to, of course, drop
Thank
this
you.
here, but also general, the Belgians. It was covered on, what I also enjoyed about it, because I have exposure to some other countries via Facebook, which is Vietnam and Thailand and so on, not just Instagram in those cases. And you see how the communities are all getting into it, and you see how people are really covering it and exciting, and just a lot of respect that is paid to the runners. I like that. And it's just generally a very genuine, positive vibe around Backyard. And I really enjoy watching it on different channels, whether it's Instagram, YouTube, different communities who are all putting into it, because I'm plugged into quite a few different languages too. And everyone was excited. And I really like that what's happening in which countries. It's almost like a global community that is united in Backyard. I really find it exciting and amazing.
Well, look, I'm glad you do. And I think the thing with Backyard is that even non-runners can appreciate it. It's got this magical quality, and I think it's also really hard to be a dick in Backyard. Like, it's such a community friendly war. People are out there. We're all running the same loop. And, this is the key thing. No one gets ahead. Like, if me and you ran UTMB, you would be ahead of me because you're faster, but we would never run with the leaders. We'd never be running with Killian or Courtney or anything. But in Backyard, like, I'm going to Pigs and I'm going to run loops with Harvey Lewis. I'm going to run loops with Phil Gore. I'm going to run loops with the Belgians, and I'm going to sit full with them. Yeah. Obviously, I will finish before they will. But that community, I think Backyard just does have the ability to be a lovely community thing. And it's made for social media as well.
That's true. And you just get up the next morning and they're still running, and you can just tune in over breakfast, over lunch, over dinner. It doesn't matter. You always can just watch if you want. I also do say that I did enjoy going to Western States this year. A great race, very different. Anyone out there, recommend going to Western States just at least once in a lifetime, because it's unique, it's original, it's small, it's community driven, it's basic, back to the roots. And this year also was exciting because Jim had a bit of a struggle, and watching it was interesting to see him already being under pressure, and then coming him going to UTMB. We already had a bit of a question mark around him if he could deliver UTMB, because Western States was exciting. He was not just running away, winning it out straight out. Next category is the biggest loser. And this is a very more like, just not in terms of people or brand, it's just like who lost this year, like what was not going well this year, what was kind of something to point out that rubbed people the wrong way. You already mentioned earlier your worst brand. That's one thing, but just more as an event, as a situation, as anything that is emotional around this. Who or what was your biggest loser for 2024, Ned?
I think, sadly, it was anybody who piled on Camille. That whole situation was a big lose for us all. I'm not saying Camille, if her and her husband seemed to do things that weren't right, I'm not there, so I don't know the ins and the outs. But that whole situation, I don't want to be too free love for everybody, but our sports, we're not a sport with hate and bad things and stuff in our hearts. And that, I think, brought out the worst in us. Some people were nice, but I had to get off social media because people were like, oh, Camille sucks. And I don't know Camille. Maybe she does suck. I have no idea. But it's pretty clear she has some struggles, and she's been open with her struggles. And everybody, she took some shit, and good on her for coming back to Taiwan last week or 2 weeks ago, running again. I think we all lost. That scenario sucked.
Wow. Now you're making me review my biggest loser, because I didn't have her, of course. I mean, I don't want to have her as a loser.
No, right. It wasn't. And I want to be clear. I want to be clear. It's not Camille's the loser. The situation, correct. we all lost.
Yeah. No, actually, I like that approach, what you're saying. Let me just choose something similar. It is true. This year has stood out in that case where negativity came into the sport, at least on my radar, whether it was the reaction to Camille, whether it was a reaction also to Spring Energy. And we talked about Spring extensively, UTMB. Things go wrong, but then the community or certain people in the community are jumping on it and just rubbing it in. And I just not sure I like this energy that much. You're right. I think that is something I mean, we can reflect, we can criticize, but it is also then how do we move forward? And of course, our show is maybe we're adding to it, we're adding another voice to it. So we're part of the system right now, but I like to believe we're still constructive and productive end of the day.
I mean, look, we can be, tough love is okay not to have stuff, but it was just, it's not by saying, oh, everything's perfect. It's not, maybe Camille did wrong shit. Who knows? But just as you say, spring as well. And, even me, shame on me. I pile on Iron Man too often, right? Shame on me. Like, I think there is our sport, no one's been, well, apart from Killian and Courtney, no one's making billions here. We're not changing the world. Although, as Dylan says, we're making the world a better place in there. So I would say, yeah, all of us need to take a breath.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I think you're right. I think that's, fair enough. A good point. I like that. So the sport lost in terms of, or we as a community lost with our negativity. Okay, then on the other side, who or what is the biggest winner of 2024? What do you think,
Marcus,
Ned?
you go Marcus,
Okay.
you go first, because as I sit here, there is a man who's hoovering around me. So I'm going to wait for his hoovering, and I'll go on mute while you speak.
Okay. I've just changed my selection for this year, the biggest winner. I do think that the sponsorship, the ultra sponsorship of Tara, is very interesting to point out that on the back of her amazing FKT, she has arguably, supposedly, allegedly secured a $200,000 sponsorship contract from Ultra. And I found that besides the financial meaning of it, let's put the money aside, money is money, but I do think we have reached a new level of interest in the sport where a brand like Ultra supposedly is putting cash on the table like we've never seen before to support an FKT runner. It's not an Olympian, it's not a a gold medalist or something. It is an FKT superstar who is now getting a great Ultra sponsorship. I find that as for the sport, a very nice development. We've talked about prize money a lot. We talked about sponsorship money a lot. I do think the prize money and sponsorship money is going up, and I think it's good for athletes, good for the sport. That's my biggest winner of the year.
Wow, Tara got 200K. Holy crap!
Supposedly, there's nothing confirmed.
Well, it means she's not getting $2. She's getting money. Good on her.
Yeah.
Okay. The biggest winner didn't need to be a person. I assume it could just be a thing. I think the biggest winner, it is both a person and an event. Oh my God, how do I forget her name right in the moment? We'll remember her name in a minute. The biggest winner are 200-mile races. 200-mile races are the new 100-mile races. With 100-mile races becoming the next marathon, everyone's doing one. The old OG crew and the crew are moving to 200-mile race. The lady who ran 50K every day for a long time, her name is, oh my God, from Destination Trail. Her name is, I'll find out. I will Google it as we speak. How can I forget her name? I'm a massive fan. 200-mile races. Anyway,
I'm just looking at it right now.
Put Destination Trail. Candice Burt.
Candice Burt. Yes. Yeah.
Candice, yes. I think 200-mile races, when she brought them on a few years ago, people were like, they'll be silly. No one's doing a 200-mile race. You won't sell those. They get sold out immediately. So I think the biggest winner are people pushing the boundaries of ultra, not sitting in the middle of it, right? Whether that's Bandit with their cool new stuff, whether that's, Vincent Bouillard doing something crazy coming out of nowhere, or 200-mile races. I think it's hard to win just at, being another 100-mile race. So the biggest winner is people doing crazy things like that. And Candice, I mean, she did some amazing stuff. Really, really. So I'm going to say her 200-mile races are the winner, and Candice, if it has to be a person.
Something for next year, and I see it on my Twitter and social media as well, is the entry fees of races are going up. And this is also maybe more under the biggest loser section, is that races are getting more expensive. We know the cost for various parts. Right now, anyone watching, you can see him, Ned is pointing on his Iron Man t-shirt. But yeah, people are saying, hey, we have not many $500 races, but next year a lot of races will cross the $500 mark, and that is just incredible to think about, that a trail race will cost $500. But hey, everything goes up. But just something we should talk about next show, about our predictions for next year, and we take some guesses around entrance fee.
Yes, but remember, people, you don't have to do the $500 race. You know, everyone knows how
What do you
much
mean?
Barkley costs, right?
I want to
Marcus,
go out and take a nice picture and post on my social media. It's worth $500. Yeah. That finisher
well, you
picture
go do
after
that.
18 hours of like walking is worth everything.
It's worth 18 hours of walking with your 5,000 best friends on a single track trail. It sounds just awesome. Marcus, a quiz. What is the entry fee to Barkley?
$59.
Come on, I don't believe you don't know. It's been the same since day one. It's $1.60.
I don't know. No, really? No, I didn't know that. You never talk about that, Ned.
Yeah.
Why don't you? You should announce those things on the podcast. Don't just make me guess.
$1.60 is what it has always cost to enter Barkley.
And what's that? Why $1.60? Do you know the background?
Yeah, Laz just decided he doesn't want to make. He just decided I'm going to do it for $1.60. That's what it costs. He just decided, and because he's Laz, he can do it.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, great. That's. I love it. All right, and the last category of this year's world famous One More K Business Awards is the category of the best documentary for 2024. We talked about this topic a few times. We had Mountain Orange and others on the show who are filmmakers who have been sharing their perspectives. And Ned, who is your best documentary of this year?
You know, look, it is definitely hard to. So much comes out, and I'm going to go. There's kind of two, and funny enough, I forget the name of the exact one. Courtney's short documentary, and again, I'm not. We've talked about ones we didn't like, but Courtney's short documentary, I think, was a beautiful way of showing that. Okay, she's at Salomon. It's a big brand. She's very well known, but you can still do that without doing it in the wrong way. I think, as you know, Marcus, I run a little sales consultancy business and called the Sales Movement. And I always say, you sell without selling. Always sell without selling. And I thought, we've talked about the Hoka one, which was like, buy Hoka, buy Hoka, buy Hoka. Whereas I think Courtney did a beautiful job with just her little passion of the sport, a little ode to the sport. While it may not have been the greatest documentary we've ever seen, i.e. it's not like I'll win an Oscar, I think it was showing that you can do this in just a lovely, genuine way.
I believe the documentary you were talking about was called The Team, and talks very nicely about also Courtney's team. I do agree. I think it was a fantastic documentary, really short, 15 minutes or so, straight to the point, talking about her and her husband and the team behind her is great. I think it was really good. That's so cool. That shows also her spirit. On my best documentary for the year, I did choose The Hardest Geezer, Crossing Africa. I do think that documentary is maybe unfair to say, but that series of films he published, very cool. I did enjoy him crossing Africa. He's just a geezer. It's so fitting. It was very original. I was very entertained by watching him, and I enjoyed that. And I found myself coming back on YouTube and watching it. So that's usually a good sign. So good job, geezer, and you became popular afterwards. So good job.
And remember, he spent the first. I think it took 200 days. For the first 100 days, no one cared. And if you listen to him, he managed to get popular via Stephen Bartlett, who's now taking a bunch of crap for some of his stuff. But that was not easy. Courtney's video becomes famous because she's Courtney and she's put the effort in. But he was a nobody. And he put the work in. And then literally, he was messaging people. Oh my God, I need money. I've nearly stopped. I need it. Just from sheer willpower. And you're right. I didn't watch it as much as you, but I watched one that was just beautiful. As he was coming towards the end, he put up a video that said, "This is an emergency. I need someone in the UK," because he had like 3 days to go. "I need someone in the UK to immediately call every kebab shop and tell them I'm coming home. I'm going to eat every kebab in Britain. Please put this message out immediately to every kebab shop. Thank you." And it was just such a great little, he's going to eat every kebab in Britain when he finishes his run. I thought it was hilarious. It was really cool. I agree.
Okay, those marks the end of our award section. They will also be published online on the website. Anyone that wants to look them up, please feel free to go online, also on Instagram, of course. So Ned, as in our tradition, Christmas, what are you grateful for? What have you learned this year from the world of trail running? What has trail running endurance sports taught you this year, Ned?
I am grateful I can still do it. I really am. Like, seriously, I think I mentioned at the age of 50, I ripped my hamstring off my leg and couldn't run a step for a year and a half. Thought I'd never run again. I think if you'd told me then I would be, still running, I would have been grateful. Then running relatively well for my age, I'd be even more grateful. And going to bigs, I would be incredibly grateful. So I'm personally grateful for it all. I'm also grateful that I'm here at a time when running's the coolest little sport on the planet, it seems at the moment. I'm super grateful that running is cool and people like it and people are getting fit and the ultras like it's still the cool niche of that sport. So, I don't say I'm grateful for it all, but if you're listening to this and you're new to the sport, be aware. We're in the most exciting growth phase this sport has had. If you joined us 10 years ago, nobody cared. Nobody was here.
Yeah.
Seriously. Nobody was here at all. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful and I'm happy for the sport.
Nice. I agree. I'm grateful for all the guests we had and grateful for all the support we got. I mean, we got to talk to quite a few cool people this year we didn't know at the beginning of the year. We had many, guests on the show from various parts of the industry. So I'm very happy that people joined us, supported us. It's cool to join the journey together. It makes it more fun. I think I learned, and the industry has taught me, this is getting a bit more serious. I think, as we said earlier, the energies are changing. So it taught me there's not just any more fun. I mean, also, I'm, of course, with Lecker, I'm involved in it every single day. I can see another side of it, not just the podcast side. I'm also seeing the business side. It is getting serious. I think the industry is getting more serious. The money's coming in. Everyone's stepping up the game. It has taught me to look at it with a fun part, but also it is real. It is a business world, and that's what I learned this year.
Oh, and thank you. Honestly, I'm grateful for you, man, and this one more show and this Lecker journey, because it has, I love running, and this was unexpected for me. It really was. I don't think, we didn't think this podcast would be as an important part of my life, and I know you've thought about it and said it's a part of your life, but yeah, straight up, man, I'm grateful for that. It's been fun. I think when we met each other 7, 8, 9 years ago, we didn't think we'd end up here. So I'm grateful for that, man. And I think it was your idea to do this podcast. So thank you. It's been massive fun.
My pleasure, or mon plaisir, ma plaisir, all the same French. Wonderful. And I'm grateful for the drops you're bringing, the wisdom every week. So Ned, now it's back to you with the drop of the episode 52, the last one of this year. We are going to have a little break next week. We're taking a Christmas break, and then we're full on with episode 53 next year in 2025. So, Ned, bring on the drop of episode 52, the last one for 2024.
Let's do it, man. I'm going to put on my glasses because I am literally 100 years old. So, Marcus, you talked about resolutions for the year. Excuse me. You talked about being grateful. People often make resolutions. So this is a resolution-driven drop. Oh, a resolution-driven drop. Look at me using words. It is inspired by Mr. Roche and his Strava statements. And what he said is, why not me? So this one's called, Why Not You? Why not you? You're not that person. Right, David? It's hard to say. It's me. It comes across as kind of off. But surely we all dream. We all want more. So why not me? It doesn't come for free. As Kobe did in the gym at 4:30, rewatch every tape. You have to do what others won't. Say no to that shitty food. Say no to that beer. Put in the extra miles. Do the speed work. The hills, sleep right, do it all. But then you must do the main part. You must think about what you want, even if it seems way out there, and then be brave and say it. Say what you're going to do, even if you can't. Who cares if people giggle or don't believe? You have to believe, because if you believe you can, or you believe you can't, you are right. Whatever that crazy out there dream is, say it out loud. It makes life way more interesting. So, 2025, say it loud. Because little dogs don't become big dogs by waiting for scraps in the corner. Ned.
Very nice. That is a great wrap up and a good look out for 2025. I think we have another episode coming up in 2 weeks' time, next year, where we're going to talk about 2025. What are the plans? What are we going to say out loud? What are we believing in? However, on this note, first and foremost, wishing everyone happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or any other festivities you're doing. Thank you for joining our journey for this year. We're grateful for that, and we're looking forward to reconnecting in 2025 again.
Absolutely. Thank you. I mean, it is not too much to say. I mean, we would still do it without you if no one listened. I don't know. Would we? We don't know if you listen. Well, we do know. We see the numbers, but me and Marcus do it and we enjoy it. But thank you for listening. Also, tell us what you want to hear in 2025. I mean, we have so much to do, but let us know what you like and what you don't. But thank you for being here. Marcus, Merry Christmas, Merry Holidays, and we will see you in the new year.
Exactly. Thanks, Ned. Take care.